Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 with Steve and Will back with another episode. Me and Steve's favorite shows to do. Post-game show after a big, dominating Lions victory. Steve, while these people are hitting the subscribe button, what do you want to talk about?
Well, real quick, I'll say at the beginning of the episode, giving away Brian Branch jersey and a $100 gift card to Fanatics if we get to 8,000 subscribers before the end of the month. You guys have been hammering it. Much appreciated. Keep doing that. We hit 8,000. You're going to win up to $250. Yeah, hey, we ain't got it like that in the den. We ain't got it quite like that yet. $250 worth of free gear, Detroit Lions. You can use it on whatever you want. William, let me ask you a question. You know what? Actually, I don't. I'll ask you this question later because that might lead to some negativity. We don't want that. I thought that the Detroit Lions did exactly what we had to do today. We were pretty close on our game day predictions on the score. We were off by a couple points here or there, but this was a big win. All right. As we were getting on, we saw the end of the Eagles and Washington Commanders game. A little bit of a cushion there. We need a little bit of help from the Minnesota Vikings, but it doesn't matter. Detroit Lions control their own destiny. So this was a big, I don't want to say monumental, but it is kind of monumental. The most wins in Detroit Lions franchise history, 13 wins today, William. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm ready for Monday. We don't even call it Victory Monday anymore. It's just a Sunday night, Monday morning, just another day in the office,
Yeah.
Will.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm super excited, man. I loved what I saw today right out of the beginning of the game. It was dominant. 3-and-out for the Bears. Caleb Williams at no point in this football game looked comfortable. Defense bounced back like I thought that they would. They looked great. I don't know if we want to go right into it, man, but I got a lot of things to say defensively. So I don't know what journey you want to go on the show. So I'm just going to kind of let you guide me because I can bounce all over the place.
Well, since you brought up the defense, you thought that listen, we know that we take what we can get from the defense. All right. And we said it on pregame show, get a couple 3-and-outs, force a couple turnovers. We did exactly that in the first 3 drives. All right, we got a 3-and-out. Bears get the ball back, trailing already. The next 2 drives they have turnovers, a fumbled on a handoff, and a fumble by Roma Dunze. That's exactly what I said. I said, hey, man, this is exactly what this team needed. Get a stop, get a couple turnovers, give your offense some extra possessions. We're going to be good to go. So defensively, I liked that. What did you like defensively?
Steve, how much time do I have?
Like all the time in the world.
Because we got plans tonight, and I'm supposed to be downtown around 5:30, but I might sit up here and talk about this defense for the next 3 hours. Where would I start? I would start with Amik Roberson. Carlton Davis, love you. You've played phenomenal this year. Amik Roberson fits what the Detroit Lions are. Tough, gritty, nasty. He's going to talk his talk. He's going to play his game at a physical level. He's going to come up and tackle. He's going to punch out footballs. Amik Roberson, I was drooling over what he was doing out there at the cornerback position outside today. And I think that Ife Melifonwu coming back and playing inside and outside of the box, letting Brian Branch bounce out to the back or come down and cover slot receivers, that shuffle that they were doing with Ife Melifonwu, this defense changed today. I cannot wait to rewatch this game and really, truly break it down because I haven't really – this is just right after the game was hopping on and what I could see during game time. But Amik Roberson was a flat-out dog today. I know he gave up one play that I remember, but he was right there fighting for the football when he gave it up. He just kind of got big body by Roma Dunze. But playing like a dog, I think that Ife Melifonwu added to this defense as suspected has changed this defense tremendously. He can play like a hybrid linebacker. He can play back at safety. They were bumping Cole Kmet, trying to create a mismatch, and he went out to the outside corner to cover Cole Kmet. Steve, I'm drooling. I think that this defense gave me exactly what I needed. They gave me a jolt of energy. I can't wait to see them next week. I think we saw something special today. This defense looked better than they have. No Kendall Vildor today. Just Amik Roberson bouncing out there like we thought he would. Steve, did you love it? Did you hate it? How you feeling?
I think we asked ourselves or each other 2 questions in the pregame show. You asked me what I wanted to see. And I said I wanted to see some dominance in the trenches. From the offensive line, I saw exactly that. Christian Mahogany getting his first start today. We talked about it a little bit this morning. We texted Graham Glasgow not getting the start, injured. Mahogany coming in. Not only is a rookie making his debut for a team that's already clinched the playoffs, but still has a lot to play for the Lions. I thought he played good, and I thought that the offensive line as a whole, I don't even think dominant is the word, William. I think what's a stronger word than dominant? Whatever you guys can come up with, that's what I would say. Because our running game, we didn't even have to use much of our running game today because we just dominated them so much. Even in the running game, if we were passing the ball, clean pockets, but I saw them blowing defensive linemen off the ball 1 to 2 yards, like in the running game. And you're talking about Jamyr Gibbs hitting a gap and having to make a linebacker miss for gains of 10. I saw big plays from the running game. Now we might not have broke 70, 75 yarders, but I saw Jamyr Gibbs getting 8, 9, 10 plus yards per carry a couple times. I thought that's what I needed to see. They checked the box. I thought they answered the bell today. I think they handled the criticism all week of maybe getting beat up a little bit by Buffalo. I thought they came out and set the tone.
Steve. Listen, this offensive line, number one, Graham Glasgow, I wouldn't miss too many more games because every time I looked up to see what Christian Mahogany was doing, he was bodying somebody. Yeah. So, and there was no point in this game that you ever said, man, Christian Mahogany's out there. That's why that happened, right? His name was not mentioned in anything negative all day, and there was never a time where I witnessed him not doing his job. Have not watched the film back. I haven't watched the film back yet. That's what I'm saying. I haven't watched the film back yet, but I remember when Coyote Awasika was out there. I remember that, and I remember his name getting called often, right? And that's it. We're not here to throw shade. That it is what it is. But Christian Mahogany was out there for a reason. We had a whole lot of other options besides Christian Mahogany. Now, Christian Mahogany out of Boston College was a guy that was getting looked at a couple years ago as the number one guard coming out of the draft. Had some injuries and some stuff going on in his life. Ended up sliding down. Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes doing what he does, sniffing things out. Back of the draft, absolute steal again. Steal of the draft. I know people don't like it when you say that, Steve, when you drop that. Hey, Brad Holmes is out here stealing people in the draft, but that's what that was. Him absolutely fleecing the rest of the NFL and getting a guy who is a starting caliber guard on the back end of this draft. So let Steve talk his talk, guys. But listen, this offensive line looked phenomenal, but I do have to say this. I talked about in our pregame show, I mentioned Barry Switzer and him being the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners back in the day when Thurman Thomas was their guy. Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas was their starter at Oklahoma State, and him saying, do not let Thurman get hurt because we don't want to play against that freshman Barry Sanders. I feel like that's exactly what I saw today. Jamyr Gibbs was being Jamyr Gibbs, special. There was one time that I can think about where he was caught in a backfield, bottled in, he hit the guy with a spin move, but I think the guy's still trying to pick up his jockstrap. Absolutely nasty. Absolutely nasty. A couple times where he caught little three-yard pass plays, made everybody else on the field look slow. The kid's special. If I'm choosing, I would not want him to be getting the predominant amount of carries. I would want it to be a balance with him and somebody else, whether it's Knuckles, whether it's Craig Reynolds, whether it's somebody. Get somebody else in here if I'm an opposing team and get the ball out of that guy's hands, because it was exactly as I predicted. Let me pat myself on the back. What was he? 45.
I'll pat it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. 45 receiving, 100 rushing. Pregame show, we said 150 for Jamyr Gibbs. I don't know if he got the game ball, but he should. How did you feel about Jamyr Gibbs today?
There was a couple times where did you have Jamar Jefferson getting some touches today on your bingo card?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. There was a couple times where Jamar Jefferson got the ball, and I know we're talking Jamyr, but they looked a lot alike, like same level of dreads. They were 28, 26, like close in number. I think the only difference was the mouthpiece. Like one was wearing a black mouthpiece, the other one was wearing white. So I thought Jamar Jefferson, in the 2 or 3 carries he got, he even looked good. And I get it, very, very small sample size. But I don't know if I can give Jamyr the game ball, because there's some guys fighting for that game ball offensively. And I don't know who Dan Campbell ended up giving it to. We could talk about Jared Goff, who absolutely went off today, went bananas. Well, let me pull up his box score real quick. 23 of 32, 3 touchdowns, 336 yards, just another day at the office. We could talk about no interceptions, a QB rating of 137. We could talk about handing the game ball to Jameson Williams, 5 catches, 143 yards, long of 82. The ball traveled 56 yards in the air. Hey, if you want to give it to Jamyr Gibbs, that's no problem. But I'm just saying, like, our offense played good today. We have a couple guys we could give it to. I might go with Jared Goff, man. I'm so sick of hearing even the narrative that just put it to bed. He could play outdoors. He could play in the cold. He could throw the deep ball. He checked every single box today. All the questions got answered. Dominant performance. If you want to give the ball to Jamyr Gibbs as the game ball, hey, I understand too. But we got some other guys that can make a case for it.
I hear your case, but I say still you have to give it to Jamyr Gibbs, because I have yet to see, and I know you guys are going to come for me in a single game situation, but I've yet to see a guy who can lead a football team week in and week out without a rushing game. And I think that rushing game allowed Jared Goff to do his thing, get into his rhythm, and really just be a sniper. He's a dog. He's a dog when he's got a rushing game. So that's why I say Jamyr Gibbs. And plus, man, get a guy a little something, man. First start without, splitting carries. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say, man. Like, give the guys some flowers.
I got to ask you a question, Will, and I don't know if we'll have the same opinion on this, but when we were talking about, we asked each other, what do you need to see in this game? I remember your answer being, I want to see Caleb Williams, the most sacked quarterback in the league. I want to see him running for his life. I want to see the Detroit Lions getting pressure on him. Do you think that we did that?
I do think we did. And here's why. The sacks weren't there, but we got him off the X, so to speak, right? He wasn't sitting in that pocket delivering the ball like he really would like to. He wasn't holding it as long as he really would like to. He was getting that thing out quick because he knew that there was going to be pressure coming. And really, you know how I watch the football games. I like to watch the front seven. I like to see what's going on up front and what type of games AG is playing defensively. He had stunts games going. He had blitzing going. He had mixing up the coverage on the back end going. He had a meek out there playing man to man. He had Ife Melifonwu in the box, blitzing and playing man to man on tight ends and slot receivers, and then Brian Branch flipping to the box and Ife Melifonwu on the back end. He was doing all types of stuff, man. And Kirby Joseph was in the box at one point. The games that he was playing, I thought that it was confusing for Caleb Williams. They really were doing in this football game. And guys, don't hammer me too much. I haven't rewatched the film. It'll be a lot better, my recollection, after I rewatched the film. But I seen a lot of getting the ball out quick. I seen a whole lot of screen plays. I didn't see a guy just driving the ball down the football field like you would think a number one phenom quarterback, generational, all these words are that are used, would be driving the football down the field. So I think this defense did what they needed to do. You disagree?
To an extent. All right. And I gave you that politician's answer. I said, I just want to see all 11 guys playing good football. I think we got that, but I didn't see enough pressures on Caleb Williams. I only saw the one sack, and not even looking at the sack. The sack didn't come till late in the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much out of hand. I get it. We played good defense. We only gave up 17 points. Hey, with this defense being banged up, I texted you this morning and said, I don't give a shit what the Lions have to do. I don't care if we win this game 2-0 as long as we win. We did that. So from the defensive line standpoint, I just didn't see a lot of domination. I didn't see taking advantage of a banged up Bears offensive line. They even lost their, I think it was their left tackle, Jones. Don't know what happened to him, but I know he went out of the game. I thought that would have been a time for Zadarius Smith to get in there and feast against some backups. I was a little underwhelmed, but I'm not trying to nitpick. I don't like to be negative on game day shows. We dominated on defense. And you were talking Amik Robertson. I thought Terrion Arnold had a pretty good game on the outside as well. It's like, I love the way our secondary played. I love the fact that we won this football game. But up front, that's where the question mark is going to be for the rest of the season. They did enough to win, and I'm happy. But I would have liked to have seen some more pressures with the Bears offensive line banged up.
See, I thought he was running for his life the whole second half, especially. But we're splitting hairs at this point. Defense definitely took care of business. But I will say this: we got to remember too, secondary took care of business, and there was a couple of things that happened with Caleb Williams scrambling around a little bit. But guys, remember, Alex Anzalone will be back soon. He'll be back soon. I mean, don't forget about that man. Thor will be back soon, and a lot of that stuff's going to be getting shut down. Ife Melifonwu and Alex Anzalone on the back end of this season, all this defensive talk, the Legion of whom, the league about to mess around and find out.
Yeah, hey, they answered the bell, but let me ask you another question. It's Lions related, but a little off topic. Does the NFL hate Jameson Williams? Because I know he got a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct penalty like this first drive in the game. I know him and Stevenson have that history from back on Thanksgiving game, and that was the play against him. He ran like a little out route, got shoved out of bounds, no harm, no foul. It's a football play. Stevenson was chirping at him. He runs past the referee, and Jameson Williams got a flag for something, William. What do you think was going on there? Like, this is all speculation, but he didn't throw the ball at him. He didn't even look at him. What is going on there?
It has to be whatever he said, I'm assuming, but a lot of things are said. If you've ever had watched mic'd up, and if you got an opportunity to hear, if you search on YouTube, You can get the uncut versions of Mic'd Up, and you'll hear some things, some pleasantries that'll get tossed around. So I assume it's based on whatever he said, because he didn't really do much, especially even when they replayed it back. Like, he didn't throw the ball at him, he didn't even really look at him. And Stevenson was talking the whole time. You could see him jaw jacking. But honestly, here's the thing for me, and I hate even doing this, but I want to talk about Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid made a big catch in the Bills game.
Yep.
Literally, on two of our guys fell down. He went like this, you, and boom, just like that. And you're not supposed to taunt directly at a player. That's something that I believe last season the league absolutely said, if you're taunting a player directly, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty every single time. I just don't get how J-Mo gets that, and he wasn't even looking at the guy. Like, but it is what it is, man. I just hope that is something that we can move past. And J-Mo, you just got to know that maybe it's kind of like that situation where now they're hyper vigilant when they're looking at J-Mo, because now he's got a history of having these little situations or whatever. So he's got to know, just make his plays and just quietly go back to the huddle, because I don't
That's
think
what I thought he did, Will. That's exactly what I thought he did. I can't imagine that these referees heard anything from Jameson Williams on the first drive that they haven't heard before in a football game. And again, it's just a question. I know it's not even game related. It wasn't anything that affected the game at all. We went out and whooped that ass regardless. But I just don't know, man. I say the NFL is the no fun league, because you just can't talk trash. You can't really do cool celebrations anymore like you used to be able to do in the early 2000s and the 90s, like when we saw Randy Moss showing his ass to the Packers fans. Like, you can't do anything fun. And I whatever, it's time to move on. But I just thought that was pretty interesting that it was those two guys had the incident on Thanksgiving. One of the first plays of the game, J-Mo gets a taunting call for not even like throwing a ball, didn't even look at him. I can't imagine he said anything so egregious that a ref hadn't heard it before. I don't know. Not sure. But what else you got for this game, Will?
Hey, you're really gonna get on this episode, TK85 active, and you're not gonna miss him. Man, you don't love him, man.
Listen,
you don't love him.
Most
TK,
dangerous football, most dangerous football player with the ball in his hands. All right, they're lucky that they didn't kick it directly to him with room to work on some of those punts, because we'd be talking about Tom Kennedy, aka Tom Hester, as some people call him.
Listen. Nobody calls him that. If anything, it's Devin Skipper. So if Skip would have been back there, it would have been all types of problems. If we're really going to be honest,
no touches for Skip today in a football game.
Unbelievable, unreal. But hey, maybe we're saving Skip for the playoffs, man. Which is understandable. But that leads me into this, Steve. How'd you feel about that trick play Ben Johnson pulled out of the hat?
See, when I saw it live, I unfortunately didn't watch this game at home. I watched it at a bar with some friends, but I was pretty focused, and I saw Jamyr Gibbs just jump right on the ground. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I saw Jared Goff like stumble, but you couldn't tell if like he tripped on an offensive lineman, because that happens before. And I remember he did it against the Packers game where he actually tripped, ended up handing the ball off to David Montgomery on a 4th and 1 to win the game, essentially. But once they showed the replay, I was like, Ben Johnson is a psycho. Like, he's just out here. Hey, what do you call that play? Like, hey, fake triple Ruski on 2. Like, what do you call that? Because I've never seen that before, and it ended up working. I think it was like a 19-yard touchdown for Sam Lagoda. Yeah, I don't know. At first, I thought he really tripped, but I was like, man, that's a psycho play to call that up. What'd you think about that?
Man, I loved it, man. He's so creative with it, man. In an NFL that's been around for I don't even know how many years, way longer than I've been born.
Not that much longer.
To see things that I've never seen. It's just cool to watch, man. I keep saying every time he does something cool, like, hey man, pump the brakes. Like, we got to make sure that we keep something in the hat for them key moments. And then he just keeps coming with new things, man. He said it before that he's got a lot of tricks in the bag, man. And he's got stuff that he's thought about for certain situations. So I guess finally I just got to go ahead and trust that he's got so many trick plays that it don't even matter.
10 more plays we've probably never even seen before or could even possibly imagine. Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, it worked. It's great. It's fun. Maybe we could have saved something like that for like a playoff game or something when our backs are kind of against the wall, but it is kind of nice to pull off a trick play on a division rival though, isn't it?
It is, man. And then I think you never know, man. Like, sometimes even when you're up 14 points, and I don't know if we were exactly up 14 in that moment, but we've seen before, we were blasting them 16-0 quick last time we played them, and then next thing you know, we're fighting for our life and barely scratching our way out of there to get a victory, man. So anytime you can really put a team away, if you're in a moment where you got an opportunity to for lack of a better word, step on their neck, I think you do that. And if you need a trick play to do it, so be it.
You think that was an audition for Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears needing a head coach? You think he was out there, like, maybe not a formal interview, but hey, you guys watching this, you might want to see what I can do. Maybe you want to bring me in. And we talked about it in our pregame show. You think that was kind of like an audition for Ben?
I don't think so, man. I think Ben is just auditioning every week. He's just being Ben, man. Every week, if you catch a Detroit Lions game, you're going to see something cool. You're going to see some type of trick gadget play. You're going to see a hook and ladder to Penei Sewell, or a reverse to Penei Sewell, or David Montgomery playing quarterback, or who knows? Who knows? Dan Skipper catching touchdowns. He's got so many tricks up his sleeve, man. I think he's pretty much made a name for himself already. He's already auditioned. He's already had his interview.
Isn't it nice to just get on here on a Sunday after a win and just know that you had a stress-free Sunday? Like, at no point in this game was I worried. We got the 3-and-out right off the rip, got a couple of turnovers, scored on both. I mean, we could nitpick and say, man, I wish we could have turned those field goals into touchdowns. You're right, but we still beat the Bears 34-17, doubled them up. It was a stress-free Sunday for me. I thought offensively we were dominant. I thought defensively we were very, very good. I'm overall just thrilled with this win. And like I said, those Eagles lost. Don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings and Seahawks tonight, but we could be talking next week. We could be wrapping up some seeds, Will.
It'd be nice, man, to have week 18 not matter. I would say that, to rest some guys up, get even more healthy than we already are. But, we'll see. Either way, we talk about it on this channel. Detroit Lions are going to be ready for whatever. Like I said, we'll be ready to play you in a dark alley. It doesn't matter whether we got all our guys healthy or we got 21 of them out. We're going to be ready to go. No excuses, man.
One more road game for the year. That's all I plan on until the Super Bowl. I plan on, the Bears are put to bed. We got one more road game on the schedule. And then we got the Super Bowl is obviously on the road, kind of a neutral site they call it, but it's not at Detroit. So I plan on flying out to San Francisco, taking care of business out there, coming back home for the remainder of the season, week 18, wrapping it up with the Vikings. Plan on getting that number 1 seed, having a rest week, a couple home games, NFC Championship game in Detroit, and then we'll travel down to New Orleans. Will, anything else for tonight?
That's it, man. But I will say this. I truly believe the way the Detroit Lions have been traveling this year, if you have a game at a neutral site, it's going to be a home game for the Detroit Lions. That's all I got.
Oh, there's people who, and myself included, who have, a Super Bowl is number 1 on my bucket list. And I've been saving it for when the Detroit Lions are in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of people who have been thinking the same thing. Like, if the Lions get to a Super Bowl, I'm going at all costs. I don't care if I have to camp out in my truck for a couple days or if I have to sleep at a homeless shelter. We will be in New Orleans, eating some beignets, drinking some good drinks, hitting up the French Quarter. We'll be there. Leave some comments. Hit that like button. Subscribe. We'll be back.